Hi guys, it's Anne. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am setting up my February spreads in my bullet journal, but before we get into that, I just wanted to do a quick flip through of my January spreads so far, because some of you guys have been asking me to show you how I fill them in and how it looks when it's all filled in and done. So let's just do that really quick. So for February, obviously it's the month of Valentine's Day and I really wanted to do something pink. However, I didn't want to go all out cheesy Valentine's Day, just hearts and roses everywhere. So I decided to go with a flamingo theme, and I am so in love with the way this turned out. So for the cover page, I decided to do this kind of geometric animal that you can see everywhere on Pinterest and Instagram. I also added in a little mini calendar on the first spread just to kind of fill out that space, and I really like the way this looks. I also wanted to do some contrast, so I added in some leaves, also kind of geometric-y feeling, and then I mix the kind of geometric, very sharp leaves with some softer, just watercolor leaves that I outlined with a green fine liner. And just to kind of add an extra pop of color and keep playing on that pink theme, I also added in a hibiscus flower in the bottom corner. For the watercolors, I'm using my Maiartist watercolor brush pens and just mixing that with a clear water brush. For the flamingo itself, I first went over it with a light pink one, and then I took this kind of magenta, very bright pink purpley color and added in just a bit more texture and shading. And to finish it all off, I just did this kind of green shading coming from the edges and just fading in towards the middle. Up next is my monthly look. I start off with the fake calligraphy title, and then I take my pastel pink highlighter and just add in a pop of color. When I added in the numbers, I kind of messed up on number 15, so we'll get back to that later. And to kind of tie this together with the theme, I added in yet another hibiscus flower and a bunch of leaves. And then I just colored them in the exact same way as I did on the cover page. here we have my this month spread, which contains my habit tracker, my monthly tasks, and also my waiting on list for the month if I'm expecting anything in the mail. I also decided to put in this cute quote that says, "Be a flamingo in a flock of pigeons." Partly because I thought it was really cute, and partly because it goes perfectly with the theme. So I add in all the icons for all the habits that I wanted to try. And when it comes down to writing the numbers of the days, I realized that I messed up because there's only 28 days in February, but that's okay. I also added a slight drop shadow on the pink that says Flamingo, just to kind of bring a bit more contrast and make it stand out more. I'm also adding a light pink drop shadow on all of the boxes, just to amp the pinkness up on this page. And then of course I embellished this page with the same kind of leaves as I did in the previous one. On the right hand page I have my content and videos. This is where I put all my videos for the month and what I want to put in them, and so that I can kind of track the progress on how I'm doing in creating the content for this month. I realize that this doesn't apply to everyone, but you can use this page for whatever you feel like. You can have it for notes, you can have it for like a brain dump, you can do whatever you need with this page. Once I'm done with all the leaves, I move on to my flamingo. I start off with just making the outlines very roughly with the light pink watercolor brush pen. And to make the legs, I am using my grey Tombows. After that, I go over the flamingo again to add in some more detail and shading and just varieties. So I go over it with a darker color just to bring that kind of texture to it. For the beak as well, I started off using my Tombows, and then I went over it with a grey watercolor brush pen, and finally I also went over it with my fine liners. Up next we have my food and workout look. I really enjoyed the calendar layout of this last month, so I'm gonna stick to that this month as well. So what I wanted to do for this one was to do something a little bit more modern and kind of like a print looking. So what I ended up doing was just drawing these silhouettes of flamingos and color them in pink. And once I was all done with that, I just added in a bunch of dots everywhere. Up next we have my sleep tracker. It's the same system as I used the previous month. I tweaked it a tiny bit more, but it's basically the same system still. So I add in the different phases of the moon, and to decorate this page I add in a bunch of stars and then the same kind of silhouette of the flamingos as I did on the previous spread. However, this time I chose to outline them with a black pencil and then fill them in with my very, very, very light pink Tombow. Here we have my expense tracker, and on the right hand page we have my budget envelope system. These are both the exact same system as I used in my previous videos. If you want to know how to use this system, I actually posted a video a couple of weeks ago that explains exactly how I use my bullet journal for my economy and finances. Then, just to make this kind of easier on the eye and see row by row, I went over every other row with my light pink Tombow. However, the ghosting from the previous page made this look kind of confusing, so that's kind of bothering me, but I'm gonna have to live with it. So for the budget envelope system, I just add in my envelopes, I put the title in, and I add the icon connected to that category. And then of course just add a tiny pop-up color. Last but not least, I started this last month actually. I didn't have it in my setup because I wasn't planning on doing this, but it just kind of happened and I really enjoy this. So I'm adding in my 2 lines a day page. So I can just do a tiny bit of journaling and you can just look back and see what happened on what day. So I kept this really simple, and at the bottom where I had a bunch of extra space, I added in another hibiscus flower and a bunch of leaves, and then I just colored these in with my watercolor brush pens. This theme turned out to be way more tropical than I intended it to be, but to be honest with you, I really love the green and the pink together. That is actually it for today, guys. Here is a final flip through of my February spreads in my bullet journal. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to click that subscribe button. I post new videos every Saturday. Thank you for watching and happy planning.